But going on to the next thing, the confirmation hearings for Amy Coney Barrett are underway. Literally, as we are recording this video right now, it's looking more likely than not that she is going to be confirmed. Will be the third Supreme Court justice that Trump has put up there, all overwhelmingly leaning towards the right. And I think we have seen some surprises from people like Brett Kavanaugh, who have not voted, I guess, in ways that people would expect. But I guess there is a lot of fear and reticence in people right now, just given her history, both personally as well as on the court and on the bench. And I think a great place to start is the fact that they're just pushing this nomination through in a time like coronavirus. They're ignoring the stimulus package. I mean, what are your thoughts in terms of whether or not this is the right thing to be doing and whether they should be helping the American people?
My first thoughts are when they first asked her to name the 5 freedoms in the First Amendment, and she couldn't name them. If you're going to be a judge on the Supreme Court, that is the first thing you should know. Number 1. Number 2, it's also extremely disconcerting the amount of money she's donated to anti-LGBTQ groups in other countries, forcibly lobbying to make being gay a crime again by forced hysterectomies and castration.
Max,
I thought she said that in her testimony that she is against discrimination for someone for their sexuality.
Well, I mean, you can say a lot of things, but look where she's donating money to.
Yeah, but how about like her case law? Like, what case did she rule that would make you suggest that she's gonna
because she's donating money to groups like.
But I donated money to Apple. I don't support child slavery.
Well, so guys, Max, a good place to be from here is the fact that she is, in her history, a constitutional purist. There is, and I have not fact checked this, but there's organizations that have come out recently are saying things like, hey, she was ruling in a case and ruled against a family of an African-American man who was killed because the right to breathe is not granted in the Constitution. If you are looking at the way in which he interprets the Constitution in its ultra purist form, there's not anything written in the Constitution about protections for people who are in same-sex relationships. So, I do think it is reasonable to assume that, and her personal belief.
Yeah, but there is protections against discrimination, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, and due process.
As of now, she also has been pretty vocal in the past about overturning marriage equality. So sure, we have these protections for now, but for how long? She's also talked to, certainly no fan about Roe versus Wade. It's going to be a disaster for equality and women's rights.
I'm a little bit more like, as you said, Matt. Like, people were saying the same thing about Gorsuch, but he just gave like a quarter of Oklahoma back to Native Americans. Probably one of the biggest civil rights thing that any justice has done in a while, and he wrote the majority opinion in that. And like, from what I've seen, I think like she seems personally more religious than I think she's getting attacked for just like how she is personally, and she does a good job of separating the two. And that's like concerning, but I get it, because like it's kind of like it goes full circle, because it used to be the Christians back in the day.
And it's also extremely concerning that she's talking about overturning the Affordable Care Act too, and with her on the court.
Dude, what the fuck is the Affordable Care Act?
Obamacare.
Yeah, and I'm saying it's such a joke. It's like 10,000 pages. Like, it didn't make the healthcare affordable at all. Like, I don't understand like what it is. Like,
it helped a lot of people with pre-existing conditions, and
we definitely have
it's still extremely expensive. Absolutely. Drug prices are ridiculous. Ambulance fucking prices are ridiculous. There is still a lot of work that needs to be done on it. However, we can build on it.
Unconstitutional, because I do believe Trump got rid of it, but I'm like, what the hell is this shit? I have to buy something from a private company or else.
Well, it doesn't work. That's just it. If we don't get the rich people in it, it doesn't work. You get a bunch of poor people in it, it doesn't work. It's dollars and cents. We need rich people in it too.
I think I'm more with you, man. We need fuck that, man. We need I'm almost for universal health care over that.
Yeah, we'll jump back into this too, but going back sort of to the confirmation hearings as well, I think the fact that, talking especially about things like universal health care, the fact that Mitch McConnell is ignoring a stimulus package that could help American people during the coronavirus pandemic is, again, one of the more shameful marks that's going to end up in his entire career. Max, I know you are leaning more to the right, but I'm pretty sure that you're, at least from what we've spoken about, in agreement that Mitch McConnell's making a huge mistake here. What are your thoughts on sort of shoving this through?
Let's make fun of the family, man. That was one of Trump's worst appointments. The Secretary of Transportation, Elaine Chao, so corrupt. Steve Bannon who you guys might hate, but Republicans might like. He said that was the original sin of the White House was that Mitch McConnell said, "Hey, Trump, you got to lay down the drain the swamp talk." So Mitch McConnell is peak swamp. He doesn't really believe in anything besides making himself rich. Has made hundreds of millions of dollars from China. His wife's family they didn't have a big company. The company just blew up, and it's just from shipping from China to America. There's been cocaine found on one of their chips. That's where Cocaine Mitch comes from. But he's been terrible, and all of his decisions have been like he was a big obstructionist during Obama, like for 8 years. Even if you don't like Obama, like you obviously want government to be working. He put a stop in that. Republicans had a super majority in 2016 and 2018. McConnell was an obstructionist then. Now we kind of have a split house, and he's still being an obstructionist. He just sucks, man. And Republicans need to stop defending it. I'm glad he got his ass beat, if you saw that in the news a week ago, with the bruises on his eyes and arms.
No, I mean, even a lot of the Democrats right now. The last thing I heard on the confirmation hearing before we had to come film this was Chuck Schumer was offering to pass Amy Coney Barrett if they could get some type of coronavirus relief package in the works before the election. That got shot down. That didn't even get the vote.
Yeah, Trump wants, because you could hate on his motivations, but he clearly wants coronavirus relief because it would help his electoral chances
and help him get elected again.
Yeah, and McConnell's like, screw that. Like my my bank account and my under the table deals. No. Let's like he would rather. Yeah,
and McConnell is up 10 points in the poll. That's
what about the lack
of
faith too that people have in Trump, especially the Republican Party. I mean, they would not be pushing this nomination through as hard as they were if they had any faith in his reelection chances.
Well, I think at the grassroots levels there's a ton of faith. I think there's a lack of faith and there's been a record amount of Republicans to quit because he's been like, for better or for worse, he's like definitely changed the Republican Party for better or for worse. And so the people that have like been on the payroll for like 20, 30 years are just like, damn, this sucks. Like, let me get out. They hate him more than anything. It's pretty clear. But I also think there is, I also think most people in like intellectual circles think that Trump's gonna lose. But like at the grassroots level, like I'm personally thinking Trump's gonna win. But I think if you ask anyone that's like in the media or in the Beltway, they think it's gonna be a landslide Joe Biden by 20.
I do think Joe Biden's going to win. However, it's going to be by a pretty small margin. I really don't see it. I don't see a huge blue wave. I see, I know we don't want to cover this yet. I do see Trump, Biden winning, but only by a small margin. I see him possibly winning Michigan, Wisconsin, and Pennsylvania. And, the ones he's expected to win, I had it probably at 307 to 231.
I got it kind of flipped, but I'm gonna make a prediction that you guys probably like, and I'm like, we could put money on this or something. Lady Graham is gone. Lindsey Graham, not gonna win. So I think Trump is more popular than like kind of like the Martha McSally's, Lindsey Graham, Mitch McConnell. So even if Trump loses, they're definitely losing. And so I think Democrats have a strong chance to win the Senate. But there's a few situations where, like John James is kind of a candidate I could see point an upset in Michigan, but we'll see. My prediction is Lindsey Graham for the loss. That's my prediction.
His hypocrisy as well, going back to the Amy Coney Barrett hearing, saying
not his, it's theirs, because like Trump wasn't a Republican, he was a Democrat 5 years ago. It's Lindsey Graham's hypocrisy, who said like, don't elect me if I say the same thing 4 years from now. Mitch McConnell's hypocrisy, like everyone in the Senate was die hard, like this is horrible. The founding fathers are turning in their graves, and then as you said, like they're just rushing this through. Like I fell asleep, I guess, while she passed through the committee, and now she's being confirmed today.
Yeah, it's crazy.
God help us.